In this interview, I meet up with Scott Pietrzak, who has been a police officer for 28 years. He has been a detective for 13 years and has investigated everything from theft to homicides. He is now a detective with Computer Forensic Unit and also the Internet Crime Against Children Task Force. Let's welcome Scott. Thank you, Scott, for coming in today and joining me. Thank you.
My pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say how important what you do and what you're going to provide here. It's so valuable for the audience that are here to watch this. It's really, really important, I think.
Thanks. Hopefully we can help some people out.
Yes. So I want to ask you, why is it so important for parents to have conversation with their kids about online safety?
In this day and age right now, especially with COVID going on, let me give you a stat. At any given time, there are over 500,000 predators online. Now that was pre-COVID. Wow. With COVID going on right now, you could just imagine that those numbers have probably gone up quite a bit. And these people are out there trying to get in contact with our kids, whether it be through social media apps or even online gaming. They're doing whatever they can to get in contact with our kids. Mm-hmm. What I do is I try and educate the kids as far as what they need to look out for and what they shouldn't do online. I can go out there and I can talk to every kid in the United States or Canada, what have you. And it really goes in one ear and out the other. Why? Because they're kids, and that's just the way it is. Yeah. The thing is with parents is if the parents aren't buying into this and they aren't getting into their kids' business by finding out who they're chatting with, what games they're playing, what kind of social media apps they're doing spot checks on their phones. If they're not talking to their kids about what could potentially happen online by talking to strangers, then they're really not doing their jobs as parents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. But it's harder with older kids, right? When you want to look at their phone, it's for parents, right? Unless you have a culture or you have a communication already set from a young age, it's okay. But then, they do change when they become a teenager.
Oh, absolutely. That attitude comes in, and you're not only fighting just a kid, you're fighting hormones and whatnot. And that's when you get it, when they get into that whole sexting thing and whatnot, sending of the images and the videos they shouldn't. It comes down again to being a parent, and we all want to be our kids' friends. I get that. I want to be my kids' friends, but I'm first and foremost a parent. And if they don't like some of the decisions that I make, that's tough. You're just going to have to get past it. These are the rules. To have a phone is not a right. It's a luxury. And that luxury can be taken away in a heartbeat if rules or guidelines that are set by the parents aren't followed.
Would you recommend that if a parent asks a child or a teenager, they should be able to grab that phone and check it, right? Like if they're hiding it, obviously there's something going on, right? Sometimes it's
absolutely
a bit, right?
Absolutely. If they're being secretive about what's going on their phone, then you absolutely should be getting into their business. I say that during my presentations. I'll say it 100 times during the presentation. Yeah. Get in their business. If you're not getting into their business, you're giving them free rein to do exactly what they want. And again, like you just stated, if they're hiding something, you need to find out what they're hiding.
Yeah. It is a tough role, right? Parent at that level, right? It's like...
It is, but it comes down to just us doing our job. And, I think one of the best things you can do is when you do give one of your kids a phone is to have them sit down with them and go over the rules of the phone. If you were to Google a parent-child phone contract, yeah. There are literally hundreds of them out there. Nice. And they can give you good ideas of what you want and what you don't want in the contract, and go through each item in the contract and have your kids sign it at the end and let them know, at the very bottom, by signing this, if you break these rules, you lose your phone privileges. It comes down to trust. And if we can't trust them, then they can't have the device. And that goes as just as well for laptops, computers, and gaming systems as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's a perfect suggestion. Get them signed. When you hand over the
Absolutely.
phone, give me the form, right?
Absolutely.
Exchange for a form.
Absolutely.
And we can
And
just
you
show
can
the
put
form.
you can put so many things in there. You always answer my texts, you always answer my phone calls, you don't download anything, you don't delete anything, you don't download any social media apps without asking me first.
Mhm.
Again, it comes down to trust. And if we can't trust them to do what we want them to do with these devices, then they don't get it. And they may not be happy about it, but down the road, when these things are happening to their friends, they'll thank you for it in the long run.
Yeah, yeah, very, very important. So why did you start online safety specialist, the
Well,
program or,
so it's actually a funny story. So I do this as a police officer. I do digital forensics, and I also do internet crimes against children, which is ICAC. And our friends know that as well. Our friend, my son's soccer family, he plays soccer. So there were a lot of kids and a lot of parents who know what I do, and they asked if I would put together a PowerPoint or just a little presentation for the kids. And at the time, they were probably 10, 11 years old, right at that cusp of getting into social media.
yeah.
So I did, and I only put it together. It was only maybe about an hour long, and I didn't know what kind of attention span I would get. So all the kids sat in front, and all the parents were in back, and the kids were laughing about it. They were kind of giggling. But I'm 10, 15 minutes into it, when I started telling them about, hey, this is what can happen when you do certain things, the giggles were gone. They were attentive. And then the parents in back were also just as attentive.
Yeah.
And the parents had a lot of questions. And the thing I think I loved the most about it is that it had built a dialogue between the parents and the kids, which they had not done before. And when I got done, I thought, okay, this is
Powerful.
something really cool. I can do something with this.
Yeah, it's very powerful because
Yeah.
it's like we almost it's like blinded to, like, it's almost like we always say it's not going to happen to us, or it's not going to happen to my kid. Like,
Absolutely.
right? It's
Every time you read about something like this in the news, if we read about it, that's one of the things that the parents say is that I just didn't think it could happen to us. And that's where it comes down to, not only educating the kids, but we need to educate the parents as well as to what to be on the lookout for. And that's what I do.
Yeah. Yeah. I love what you say on your website. There's a part you say that kids know what they're doing online, but they don't know the consequences. But the parents know the consequences, but they don't know what their kids are doing online. Isn't
Absolutely.
that perfect?
Oh, it is perfect. And I think that, I think the parents who will watch this, I think the majority of them will pretty much agree that they may not be as tech savvy as their kids, but we were young, we did things, we just didn't have the electronic devices, so we know what the consequences are of the actions. And the kids, they know what they're doing online, they just don't know what the consequences are of their actions. So bridging that gap is extremely important.
Yeah, very, very important. Do you think having kids have their laptop or a TV or their game stations or whatever it is in their room is appropriate, or should that be on the contract? It's in.
And I think that's up to each individual parent right there, depending. I can tell you in all honesty that our gaming system is not in any of the kids' rooms. It's out in a general play area. We do allow them to have their tablets or their phones in their room, but it's within the contract that they can only have it in there within a certain amount of time, and then it comes out of the room, and then it stays in our room for the rest of the night. They're not allowed to use it after that. But when they are in their room, they also know that if it comes to video chatting or something along those lines, I don't really have to worry about it so much with my 10-year-old daughter, but my 14-year-old son,
Mm.
You know, there's no video chatting with the door closed. There's no video chatting in the room. If you're going to video chat with someone, it's got to be outside of the room, visible
Mm.
to everybody.
Mm.
So, and it kind of keeps the video chatting down because they get a little embarrassed to do that in front of everybody. But again, I'm sorry, but it's for their own good.
Yeah, this is what I'm having myself. I have a 13-year-old, and he keeps saying that I have to play and I have to be loud. I don't want to be loud outside, so let me take it inside. So we're having this kind of, after you said there's a contract, I'm going to get it, but it's like
Absolutely.
almost like if somebody was to come through my doors, I would never let them go into the room and lock the room and stay in there. But it's almost
Exactly.
the same thing with the
It is
device.
exactly the
The
same
world
thing.
is in there,
The
and
only
I'm
thing you can't do, the only difference is you can't reach out and touch somebody. But everything else you could still do within the confines of that closed room, and that's what we're trying to avoid. We're trying to avoid that temptation.
Yeah, yeah. So like it's hard, like when I have these conversation with him, and then it's like I don't want to invade his privacy or be like I don't trust you. I don't want to give that message. I want him to be my mom trust me, right? But at the same time, I have this urge to stop him because I want to.
Exactly. I completely agree with you. And you know, I've said it a few times already. It comes down to being a matter of trust. I can trust you. I when we first sign this contract and I give you your device, and whether it's the phone or the gaming system, I'm going to trust you to do the right thing. If you violate that trust by doing something that's we have talked about that you can't do, or sign the contract, or what have you, if you break that trust, that luxury, not that right, that luxury gets taken away, and you have to rebuild that trust again. And it comes down again, just like you said, we want to trust our kids. We want to be our kids' friends,
Mhm.
but we have to be a parent first.
First, yeah,
And
yeah.
it's not always the popular way to go.
Yeah, yeah. Especially when you take the phone away, you're not their parent.
Exactly. It's their life these days. It's their life. But you know what? You're going to find out that I've had to take away my son and my daughter's phone here and there. Nothing horrible, but just, breaking a couple of rules. Um, if you take it away, man, you'd think that they'd never had a voice before. They start talking and talking and
Mm,
talking and talking once they're not glued to that phone.
yes.
So it's not a bad thing to have it taken away once in a while.
Once in a while, yes. So what is the biggest threat now, right now, this COVID, we're all at home, with the lockdown. What is the biggest threat for our kids right now?
Well, I would say that the biggest threat is the kids being online for an extended amount of time and not being monitored by what they're doing, either by gaming, because once they game, most of these games you are gaming with numerous other people from across the
Mm.
country, even across the world, um, and even through social media. It's if we're not if we're not paying attention to what they're doing online
Mm.
and doing those checks, they're being contacted by people. These predators, they're like fishermen. They just throw out the line as many times as they can. They can throw it out 100 times, but as long as they get that one bite, man, they're happy with that. And
Mm.
that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to monitor so our kids don't bite onto that line.
Mm.
And I think that's what it is right now, is that our kids are spending too much time online, uh, because that's what the predators are doing too. These predators who are out there trying to entice our kids, their job is really to do just that, to entice our kids, and they try and perfect what they do, and they get
Mm.
better and better at it. So it's our job to stay ahead of that.
Yeah. And with COVID and the anxiety and stuff, the kids are more vulnerable and they're bored, right? They don't have.
Absolutely, absolutely. Uh, Arizona, where we're at right now, is the hotbed right now for COVID. So everyone's at home.
Mm.
So that's what they're doing. They're online, and we're trying not to have them online so much. But it's just like you said, it's boredom. The kids
Mm.
are on there, and again, the predators know that.
Mhm, mhm. So, can we talk about a little bit about social media? Like, what's something that the kids should watch out for? Like, you said when you did the presentation for the your neighbors and kids, right? They were
Mhm.
giggling first, but then they got
Yeah.
serious because you gave them some real life examples or something, right? So then they're
Yep.
like, yeah, this is kind of serious. I better, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You know what? I think so. As far as social media goes, it really is as simple as this for people who are not able to go to a class or become educated or anything along those lines. One of the best things to do is to Google it. Google what are the most popular social media apps for teens right now, and they'll have them all on there. Just make sure it's something current because Google will sometimes show something from 2016, and that will
Popular.
really help you out very much. But one of the newer ones, it'll tell you all the new ones that are on that kids are using. If you do, as a parent, allow your kids to use social media, don't just let them do that. Become familiar with what the apps are and what the parental controls not are not only on the phone but on the apps as well, because you can limit how long they're on there, or you can limit their location services on there, or you can limit who contacts them or who they contact. Again, it comes down to the parent educating themselves on what their kids are doing through social media.
Mm-hmm. Is there one or two that they should watch out for that you know right now?
You know what? There's the big ones that are out there. I think the three biggest ones are you have your Snapchat. Snapchat is tough because it has the location services on there that if you swiped down on that main page, if you anyone who is a friend of you can see
Where you?
exactly where you are.
Mm.
So turning that off as a parent, it might not be a bad idea. You also have your Instagram. Instagram is also another hotbed for people just being contacted out of the blue by complete strangers.
Mm.
But what parents need to know is that Instagram actually has some pretty good parental controls.
Mm.
And then the other one is TikTok. TikTok has gotten a lot better as far as policing inappropriate content on there, but that's still not stopping predators from contacting people out of the blue. Those are the three most popular ones right now. There are other ones out there, uh, but again, it comes down to again, be a parent, find out what they're using, do
Yes.
spot checks.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
because I'm sure kids are out there using, when they have an Instagram, are they using the real Instagram account or they're using what they call the Finsta, which is the fake Instagram account?
Mm.
Logging out and logging into the one where they're doing inappropriate stuff.
Mm.
So social media, very important.
Smart. Kids are smart, aren't they?
They are. We have to be smarter.
Yeah. And then the predators are even smarter than them, right?
They're
So
trying to be.
well, that's
They try and stay one step ahead of the parents, and being the parents that we are, we're not going to let them. We're gonna try and stay one step ahead of them.
Can you share a story that so that the parents actually know the like I know everybody knows it, but then we just kind of let it go because it's such easy, right? Like the kids are busy themselves, keep themselves busy, so it's like okay, they're off of doing whatever, right? So sometimes we are busy and also like stressed out at this point in life, we just let it go, but it's very serious, especially right now, right? What's
It is very serious, and I can share so many stories about it. I think what adults and parents sometimes fall into the trap of is that it's only happening to teens. I've had cases where I've had an 11-year-old who was contacted by a predator online while he was playing a PlayStation 4, and the predator talked the 11-year-old into sending a picture of his private parts, which he ended up doing. And that was just, you've got to know that these kids are doing this, and it comes to educating them. You have 11-year-olds, this is happening to 17-year-olds. It's not just happening to, oh, it's just teens. No, it's not. If your kids are online and here's an example, when my daughter was maybe 6, 7 years old and was really starting to become a little more tech savvy, she was playing Roblox, which is kind of like an online kids game. She was being contacted by complete strangers to chat and whatnot. Um, Luckily, what I do, I can spot that. And
Mm,
she's to the point now where she gets contacted, she lets me know,
mm,
and and we can block them and whatnot. But parents who aren't as tech savvy, who aren't watching what their kids do, yeah, Roblox is a kid's game, but there are predators out there who know this, who are contacting these younger kids.
mm,
So there are a ton of stories out there that I can tell you where the circumstances aren't were didn't end up so well, and
mm,
it's a hard lesson learned, really a hard lesson learned. Um, but it's about the parents staying vigil and knowing what's going on.
yeah, yes. You have to check your kids.
Absolutely, absolutely. When it comes to the gaming, it's as easy as whether it's Xbox or the PlayStation is going to and looking at the parental controls on there. And if you don't know how to run them, Google it. Google how to run them, so
Mhm.
you can limit how long they're on there. You can limit the content on there. You can limit who they talk to. You can limit the chat on there. Get into their business, know their business, and find out who their main friends are. If you walk by and they're playing and they're chatting during a game and you see some names pop up there of people who they're talking to, ask them, who is that? Who is that? If it's somebody you don't recognize and they don't know who it is, have
Yeah.
them block that person. And if they say, I'm not going to do that, then you walk over and you turn the game off. You know,
Yeah, yeah. Take it away.
go by the rules or don't play. I
Yeah,
think they're going to want to go by the rules instead of not wanting to play.
yeah, yeah. And it's ongoing, right? It's not like, because one day it might be looking okay, but it's the parents have to be on it. It's not
Absolutely.
just took it and
Absolutely.
leave it, right?
And I think that's I mean, that's a great thing right there, is that, just because they didn't have something on their phone that one time that you told them, hey, I want to look at your phone. Well, do a spot check once in a while, right before they go to bed, or even when they wake up in the morning. Let me see your phone. I don't want to show you my phone. Give me your phone or lose your phone,
Mm-hmm.
So we want to be their buddies, but we've got to be parents first.
Yeah, that's why you earlier said have that conversation, right? With them. So they
Absolutely.
already know the rules, so there's
You've
no
got to talk to them about
safety.
what can potentially happen down the road. If we're not talking to our kids about that and we're not buying into it with parents, it's like I said in the beginning, I can talk to every kid until I'm blue in the face.
Mm,
And it's not going to work unless the parents are also putting in their time as well.
yeah. Another topic that you talk about is extortion.
Extortion. Okay.
Yeah.
So sexting is basically sending either a nude picture or a video between one another. In the state of Arizona here, it actually is against the law for them to do that, because once it gets, I won't jump down that rabbit hole, but once they send it out to another person and it's being shared, if that person is under 18 years old, it's considered child pornography, and
Mm,
it's actually a very low felony here in Arizona. Um, that's happening quite a bit, and a lot of times it starts out as, those are just what happens when the hormones rage,
mm,
and they're exploring themselves. We hope they don't do it, but unfortunately we can't always be with them,
mm,
so we talk to them about that. What sextortion is sextortion kind of goes a little bit further. It usually involves a stranger, basically a kid getting in contact somehow with a stranger online, and that stranger coerces them, or grooms them to send either a nude picture or a nude video or even personal information online.
mm,
And they keep on saying, hey, look, if you don't keep on sending me things, I'm going to blast this picture or this video out to all your friends, to all your family on social media. And, kids are going to make mistakes. We can only hope that once that happens, or if that happens, they'll come to us and tell us, hey, I made a mistake, I need help. But a lot of the times they don't, and it just keeps on happening, and it keeps on repeating and repeating and repeating until it snowballs out of control, and it's something they can't handle anymore. And they become, we've
yes.
had cases where they've become quite depressed, to the point where we've had victims attempt suicide before because they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And they, again, I don't want to beat a dead horse, But that comes down to us as parents going to the kids and having that talk and
Yeah.
saying, look, if something like this ever does happen, look, if you may come up to me and tell me that you made a mistake, and I may even be disappointed, but the bottom line is this: I absolutely love you, and I will help you through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's kind of like the difference between sexting and
Yeah.
sextortion.
It's a little hard for kids if they have done that is to come and talk because they it's kind of shame, right? Like they're in a shameful position now, right? To come and
Yeah,
say I did this.
yeah, they're embarrassed. They're embarrassed that they let themselves get into that position.
Yeah.
And again, we just need to have that talk and say, look, yeah, it may be embarrassing and it may suck to have to tell us that, but please know that I'm going to help you out of it no matter what.
Mm-hmm. It could, I mean, kids can't tell the difference between when someone's asking them to do this. They just think it's like, like, I mean, I'm just thinking, what is they thinking? It's because they've groomed them enough to.
It is. It's the grooming. So what it is grooming, and it comes down to what I was saying before about these predators getting better and better at what they do. And what they're doing is they're really taking the weaknesses that maybe our kids might have and using them against them, like a low self-esteem, or maybe even just having a bad day. And the kids saying, oh, my parents suck, my teachers suck, I'm having such a bad time, I'm ugly. And they're turning that all around and spitting it and saying, well, yeah, I have the same problems, or I think you're absolutely gorgeous. Why don't we be boyfriend and girlfriend? They're getting that level of trust or that level of romantic feelings towards them, where they're really talking these kids into sending them anything that they want, whether it be a nude picture or nude video or even personal information like email addresses and passwords and whatnot. They're using all of that against them. And that's where we have to go through our kids' chats with strangers and say, okay, do you see what's happening here? What he said here? He doesn't mean this. He's just trying to get something from you.
And are these people pretending to be younger than the?
Some of them do and some of them don't. Some of them will say they're quite a bit younger, but when it comes down, and they will send the fake pictures, not really who they are. But we've also had people really say what their real age was.
Yeah. When will a parent, if there is something happening like that, like when will it become serious enough to come to you guys or show police or something like that? What is the, how many times? Is there anything like that, or
Well,
just trying to block them?
I think one time is too many times. I think it's about if you have a predator who has talked your child into sending what have you, a picture, a video, a nude picture or a video, or information, and they know for a fact that that child was underage, then that's all you need to do to get in contact with the police. And even I'll go one step further. Even if your child was good enough to say, hey, I'm not sending any of that stuff to you, and they went and told their parents about it, hey, let the police know about it as well. Go to your local police department and find out if they have a digital forensics section, or people like myself who deal with internet crimes against children. Talk to us, give us that information, and we can see if we can't contact one of these people and see if we can find out who they are. Because if they're doing it to one kid, they're doing it to a lot of kids.
Yeah. So don't just block it and leave it if it's that.
No, let us know. Let us do our job. That's what we get paid to do, and that's what we get trained. We go through a lot of training and deal with this. And if there's one thing we like about this job, is taking these people off the internet, putting them in jail, because that's one less person you have to worry about dealing with your own kids.
Yes, yes. Can we also talk about cyberbullying a little bit about that? Is that right now big, or is the other ones the bigger ones?
It is big. Cyberbullying, man. We talk about it when I go into the schools that I teach. I talk about cyberbullying quite a bit, and this is actually a very popular topic. It is big because when it comes to cyberbullying, it's so much different than actual face-to-face bullying, because there's really no way of getting away from it. It's not just when you see this person. There's no way of getting away from it. There are no geographical boundaries. It could be 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It could be one person. It could be 100 people doing this to the victim. Um, it, Again, it comes down to when this does happen to kids, a lot of the times they won't say anything about it because they're embarrassed of what's happening to themselves and that they've let it get so far. And again, I'm going to go back to that whole thing about having a talk with them about it. Talk with them about it and say, look, if this is happening to you, or if this is happening to somebody you know, let us know about it. We will help you through that. That's what we do. We're parents. We get paid big bucks to do this, to help you out. The problem is with cyberbullying and in bullying itself is that, again, kind of like the whole sextortion thing, is that it does lead to a severe depression, and to the point where these kids don't think they have anywhere to turn anymore. And, it's leading them to suicide attempts, and it's something that really needs to be talked about. The parents and kids need to be educated on it.
So could this happen with the stranger too, or is it mostly their friends ganging up on each other? How does
It's kind of both. A lot of the instances that we've seen through our unit is, so I just talked about the sextortion. What will happen with that is, unfortunately, word gets out into school really quickly. And we had one instance where it was a 13-year-old girl, and she had been sextorted, and kids in school found out about it, and they were not so nice about it, and they cyberbullied her to the point where she became very depressed and attempted suicide. And thank God she wasn't successful. She moved schools. She moved to a different school. Well, word gets from this school to that school, and they found out about it again, where she was cyberbullied once again, and she actually attempted suicide once again, and again, thankfully, was unsuccessful. So the good thing about her was is she was very strong. We ended up arresting this guy, and she ended up testifying against him. But yeah, it can be a stranger, and it could be friends, even people that they knew in school. It's just a matter of them talking about it and saying, hey, this is happening to me or to a friend.
And again, you're going to say the same word again, communication.
Absolutely. It's so paramount.
Key, yes. Is there anything else you can share with parents about what they should look for, or anything else out there that parents can pick up on if their kids are acting this way or that way, or,
Well, I think the most important thing is talk to them about it. Talk to them about the social media apps that they have. Find out who their friends are online, who they talk to all the time and who they don't. The thing is with Snapchat that I think is that if you look at any high school kid's Snapchat account, it's not about your friends on there. It's about the number of people you have on there who like you, who are your Snap buddies. There's no reason for you to have 600 people on there following you. Just have your small circle of friends following you, and there shouldn't be any problems. Find out what your kids' usernames are, what your kids' passwords are, because if they give you a phone and you're not able to get into those social media apps, they're hiding something, because they're always signed into them. So if they sign out before they give them to you, find out what their usernames and passwords are so you can get in there and look at the chats. And that's the same thing with gaming as well. Find out who they're talking with, find out who they're chatting with. And if they're just playing games with their friends or their family online, there shouldn't be any issues. But if they have a ton of people on there that they have no idea who they are, then clean it up and go into the parental settings and know those, set it up, and down the road, you won't have to worry about any issues, hopefully.
And don't feel guilty or you're invading their privacy. This is not that.
No, it's, you know what? Do your job. As a parent, do your job. It's never fun to have to kind of drop the hammer and say, I need to do this. I need to look at your phone. Give me your phone. But that's what we do. Our job is to steer our kids in the right direction so they make good choices. And they're not always going to make those great choices, but hopefully if we're able to talk to them, we can avoid some really embarrassing predicaments beforehand.
Hmm. Um, what was your mission when you like started this program? Is to like go into schools and presentations so that everyone's aware of the dangers, like because you know that we
Mhm.
kind of use these machines as or we don't think about them, right, when
I
we're
know, I know.
yes.
Yeah, so honestly, when I first started this, my wife and I really just thought that I was going to we were going to be invited into people's homes and just I would do a presentation in front of them and either, their family or friends. And that's kind of how it started. And then I started putting on my own classes and having people come in and advertising that, and people were coming in. And then I was being contacted by schools, by youth groups, by the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, church groups,
Mhm.
by volunteer groups, and also like school counselors associations and doing their training as well. So it really has kind of exploded into this big thing right now that I honestly couldn't be happier about. It definitely went in a direction that I never thought it would, but I'm blessed that it has.
So is the presentations like this where you give advice and give the intents of the problem, right? Like this, we don't understand how the problem is deep. The problem is, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So when I come in and I do a presentation, it's basically it's a PowerPoint, and it's usually about 90 minutes long, and with participation with the kids and whoever's there, usually lasts about 2 hours, and I go over the topics we talked about, but a bunch of other topics as well. I go a lot more in depth, and I talk about some war stories of what we've dealt with and the consequences that occurred with some of these cases.
Mhm.
I also go into what to look for, and as far as a parent is concerned, but also the kids as well. And it's mostly me talking, it's blabbing the whole time. It's a lot of lecture, but
Mhm.
I I've been very surprised with how the audience participation has been since I've started this whole thing. People have a lot of questions during it, and I won't go on to another topic until we've understood the topic on hand. So it's been great, and then at the end, I've gotten great feedback on people who have already fallen into these situations, or they said, "Oh, I've seen this before," but or they'll contact me later and said, "Oh, on the way home, my son told me, or my daughter told me that he or she was contacted by a stranger, and I just never knew it." So yeah, it's taken some directions, but it's been fantastic so far. I'm very happy with how OSS has gone so far.
Yeah. I contacted you when I started the summit is because we're now in a phase where we're always online. I mean, it's
Yes,
in our life, right? Lifeline
absolutely.
of the past
Yeah,
2 months, and it could continue. Who knows, right? So
absolutely.
this is a real danger. It's no longer, bullies at school. It's bullies through the screen, right? Like,
Absolutely. And I'd be willing to bet that the remainder of 2020 is going to be exactly like this.
yeah, yeah. So it is a big, big decision. Parents have to. I really liked your advice on getting a contract because even with my coaching students, one of the things I do is ask them to sign a contract. These are the rules that we play by, and
Yeah,
you have to agree to it. And if you break it,
absolutely.
then we have a problem. We
Yeah,
can't play the
absolutely.
game, right? So it's so important. So I'll do that because I've been having some doubts after meeting you and stuff, right? One of the things that always comes back is the picture of like someone walking through the front door and going
Mhm.
into my son's bedroom. I would never allow that
Exactly.
physically, but I
Exactly.
sometimes the whole world is in his room. So I'm starting to think of it like that, like,
You're absolutely right. I mean, these the video games that these kids are playing these days, like a game like Call of Duty or even like Fortnite, which is so popular. there's at least 100 people that they can chat with just like that. And Call of Duty, there's literally thousands that they can chat with just like that. And these people have your child's undivided attention as long as they're sitting there playing.
Yeah. And is there restrictions on the games parents can put who they chat, or no? Just
Yeah,
on.
there is. So my advice for that is when it comes to gaming, the big ones are PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, is go in and become very familiar with the parental controls in the gaming systems themselves. And then when they install a game, whatever game they're playing, go into the game and look at those settings as well, because sometimes they may override the system settings. So it'll just give you peace of mind if you kind of know what's going on. And it may be something that you just have to do once and just, again, spot check on once in a while.
Mm-hmm. Do you recommend shutting the Wi-Fi or the internet down after a certain time? Because some families have that rule, right?
Yeah, you know what? Some people do that, and yeah, if that's what seems to work for you, absolutely shut it down. It's not a problem with that. There's no problem with having restrictions on how long your kids are online at all. If you want them to be done at 8 o'clock, then have them be done at 8 o'clock, and all their devices come out to you, and they stay in this one area until the next morning.
Mm-hmm.
So absolutely, and that's something that can be put into that contract. Hey, if you violate the contract, you lose the device.
Yeah, yeah. And in your service, do you offer people who are like, not everyone knows all these technology, right? Like,
Mhm.
if I go into the game, I probably don't know where those settings are exactly to fix it. So do you offer that service to people, or do you teach that as well? Or
Yeah, I would be more than, they can contact me. We'll have my contact information on
yes.
here. I'd be more than happy if they contact me to help them out. And again, Google is your friend. You could just Google parental controls and how to use them for the gaming systems, and they'll run you through it step by step.
Mm-hmm. So what do you see yourself in with your business now? The schools are closed. I guess you can do online, right? People can tune in online to the.
Yeah, people can. I'm going to be starting a blog at some point, a video blog at some point, just to kind of give. It's kind of difficult for me to give my full presentation online because I don't think anybody wants to listen to me for a good hour and a half. But I'm going to have different tips and different stories that I think would be helpful to parents and to kids, and we'll give them something to discuss between each other and say, hey, so okay, so this happened, what can we do so we can prevent this happening between us?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think what you're going to say is so valuable. I think they'll listen across. I'll listen. Everybody will listen. The parents listening right now would say, I need to hear that, right? Because
Absolutely.
we're just
Absolutely.
a bit blind right now because technology is new to us, right? And we don't think.
Yeah, well, as connected as we are, we're still very new with technology. So, and there are many parents out there who are very who are not tech savvy, and really, turning on a computer is about as tech savvy as they get.
Mm-hmm.
So, if they, again, it comes down, if they ever have questions of what to look for, or have something that they're dealing with, I'd be more than happy to help them out and give them advice.
Thank you. Thank you so much for all that information. I think this presentation will open parents' eyes and download that contract, and just then you don't have to nag, you don't have to talk, you don't have to fight, just bring out the form, right?
I hope so. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate you having me on here.
Yeah, and your final word is talk to them, communicate.
Get into your kid's business.
Yes.
That's your job.
It's your business, even if they say it's none of your business.
If it's none of your business, then you take it away and you tell them it's not a right, it's a privilege.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.